Welcome to the moments from round two. So we predicted Centaurus would win.
Yes, we did.
He did not.
Well, Blue Brown is tough to beat, no?
Yeah. And we had 7 draws. They were all correct.
Yes.
So my prediction before the start of the tournament that I would do worse than random is currently under pressure.
Yeah, it's not holding up.
So the first moment we have chosen, or this is the one I have chosen, this is Divya against Vaishali. Two young Indian ladies that I really like. I worked with both of them at some point, and I think both of them very talented, very, very nice people. So in this position here, both players have less than 3 minutes, and Divya is a dangerous player, but here should not be anything to fear. Vaishali is a very, very dangerous blitz player, but here she probably tried too hard. I think she did a bit of overthinking. If black is doing nothing or playing b5 or something like this, should be fine. But instead she tried to, I think, force a draw. Actually,
Right, with 94, no?
that was my thinking. My thinking was she actually saw everything that happened in the game, but she didn't see that she should have lost with this combination. It's also possible she simply blundered. But she thought for like 1.5 minutes out of less than 3. So I don't think so. So here, Divya thought until she was down to, I don't know, 40 seconds or something like that. Close to 2.5 minutes, trying to find a refutation. And if you stop the video, you can also try to see if you can find the refutation of this knight jump and try to find out black's idea. It's actually a little more tricky than you would think at first.
Yeah, I think yeah, in short time, in time trouble, it would be very hard to.
Well, we gave it to Yali as an exercise, and he fell for the same trick as happened in the game.
Exactly, yeah.
But anyway, so the way white played was rook takes b7, rook takes b7, rook takes b7. Of course, black had anticipated this, and now knight g5. The idea is that after the queen moves, black wants to take the knight on c5, and then the rook is no longer defended. So Divya in advance has seen queen g3.
Very logical.
Yeah, Yali played queen f4. It just transposes, rook c5, and now check, rook b8, and it seems like it's going to be mate. So this position here, should black resign?
Always make one more move.
Always make one more move. What is it? Give it a check. It might be exchange of queens.
Exactly, queen.
So here is now past the time control. They are in an endgame, and it's just going to be a draw, and that's what they agreed. But let's go back a little bit to this position. Here, if white had seen black's trick, she could have played queen g4. And now there's simply no tricks.
Apparently, there are nothing at all.
Like engine says something like this. But again, we only check it with the engine after the games. So today we sort of missed some of the later stage of the games because we went down and looked at the games themselves.
Yeah.
And they were all done when we were there. They only allow players in, spectators in 3 times. At the start of the game, after 2 hours, and after the time control.
Yeah.
And after the time control, we had Isipenko and Nakamura and Drone Rook and everyone else had gone home. So I did manage to blunder all my pieces to Yali in the blitz game. My last ever blitz game, probably. Okay, let's go to the other moment. We had this, we were analyzing together, all of us.
Yes.
And together with the tournament organizer, Paul as well here. So this was a moment in
the Lagno against Sujin. Well, we thought that this was the most unbalanced game from the beginning. White sacrificed a pawn in the opening, and well, after some play, they got to this position where it's quite complex. We thought.
Yeah, earlier, I should say earlier we checked it later here. Earlier was black was definitely winning, but even here it's very hard for white to justify the 2 pawns, but it can be done.
Yeah.
What did we want to play?
Yeah, here we wanted to play bishop e5. This was our move, fighting for the dark squares, trying to penetrate black's position. And
we anticipated that black would win a tempo.
Yes.
And then here we were not very smart.
No, we were mostly focusing on queen f2.
Exclusively. In fairness, it is the second best square.
Wow.
But it's a very distant second, isn't it?
Yeah. We all blundered this move, queen h2 here.
And we totally missed it. We just went too fast. And that's actually one of the main advice and calculation is always make sure you don't miss something in the beginning. Don't go too fast.
So the idea is that when black has to capture on e5.
Or can play rook h6, but it's very similar.
So we take back and rook g8. Attacking g2. This is black's main counterplay. And now
we had similar lines with the queen on f2, and it's simply worse placed on f2. But here we did see the general ideas of trying to be very active and come with the rook. So here, if black takes on g2, it only helps white actually. So here, and now we are threatening to take on e6. But this time, this is not so clear.
Yes, after rook takes e2, we can't. It seems like we cannot do anything, but we need to block this diagonal that is killing us, and the only move to do so is knight d5. So,
of course, you want to check here, rook takes e6, it just doesn't work. So we're sort of cutting this out. And here, if you play rook takes a6, then there's rook e2 check.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And yeah, it's everything. But this position here is still okay for a draw, it turns out.
Because we have queen f6 and then...
Yeah. And black will take on many times on e6, and the 2 rooks equals the queen in value here, and it will be a draw. In the game, we didn't like the look of h4. It both loses time and...
weakens the square g4 permanently. Didn't look like.
Rook d8 was played, g5, take. Here rook d7 looked good, but instead black played rook c8. Actually, it's funny that rook a8 is a winning move, and rook b8 also, I think, but exactly not rook c8.
Oh.
So this position here, I gave to you guys as an exercise. This is obviously something we didn't find this ourselves. We never looked at this position ourselves before, but I checked the games with the engine, and I gave them to everyone. And one suggestion was this, but after this, here, black is doing very well in this endgame. The bishop is very powerful. We have 2 pawns, not going to be checkmated. Black's doing very well. So we had one suggestion was a variation look something like this, which is very close to the game, how the game could have gone. But Yali, he came with a suggestion where you looked completely perplexed when he said it. You
Yes.
didn't understand the move at all.
I didn't understand the move at all, and that is knight b5. And the idea is he's just driving the queen
So
away
if the
from...
bishop takes,
Yes, if the bishop takes,
rook
then
d1.
this is the point. This is why all other moves work, but this one it doesn't, because there is a rook on
like
c8.
of course you can take on c1 a few times. We don't need to show it. Exchange a few times and put the bishop on c6. Black's not going to lose.
Yeah.
But it's also not going to win.
Yeah.
I said he, didn't I? She. Apologies. Did I misgender the queen? What happened there? So, knight b5 after rook takes b5. How does white force a draw?
Rook takes e6. After pawn takes, queen g6.
And perpetual check.
And
Or king f8 also is possible, and it's also perpetual check. But in the game, rook d2 was played. And here, the line we had suggested was queen g4, queen f6, and castle. It's funny to castle there. You were thinking rook would come to the g file. but now the rook e6.
Black is just winning, yeah?
Yeah, black's just winning. Instead, queen b4 was played. And then
Same motive, rook e6
Same
and queen
motive.
b6.
And here it ended a draw. And with that also ends our video.
Yeah, we didn't see anything too special on the men's section today. Every game was very, very solid, few risks taken, and everything vanished quickly.
Normally everyone in the candidates come out really strongly out the door in the first round, and then by second round everyone has to sort of recover from whatever happened in the first round. And this was no exception.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good night.